Hello and welcome to Yoga Teket. My name is Lisette Pompa and this is Yoga for Beginners. So this is a program to start with. If you've never done yoga before, you're gonna need a yoga mat and you're gonna need 2 blocks. And if you don't have 2 blocks, bring something that can help you and can give you a little bit of height sometimes during the practice, because these are very good to begin with, okay? So we're gonna start with the day 1 today. And during these classes, every day, these are 20 minutes where we're moving, but at some point we're gonna kind of stop a little bit and I might talk a little bit more or explain a little bit more in detail some stuff. But you know, you're gonna be moving, so it's gonna be 20 minutes of movement. We're gonna begin. Bring your 2 blocks close to you and you're gonna find a comfortable seated position. So you can decide if you wanna sit with the block in between your feet and the knees pointing forward, or if you want to take a comfortable cross-legged position. We're going to start with what's the breath on a vinyasa class. So we're talking about Ujjayi breath. So you breathe in and out through the nose during the whole class, unless you're doing a specific breathing exercise. And we're going to think about kind of the ocean sound when we breathe. So we breathe in and out through the nose, but the back of the throat makes a little bit of sound as we inhale and as you exhale. And the shape you want to take with your mouth, with your throat, is the same shape as you do when you whisper or when you kind of fog a mirror in front of you. So we're just going to do it a few times so you can really find it, and you will find it more and more as the weeks go. But just for today, you're going to inhale by the nose. And then open your mouth and imagine you have a mirror in front of you. As you exhale. Good. Inhale again, just normal in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Now see if you can find that sound as you inhale. And as you exhale. And you will try to keep it going through the whole practice. It's called Ujjayi breath. And don't worry if you lose it. If you lose it, it's okay. But if you remind yourself about it, see if you can bring it back to you and back to your practice. It's a very calming breath, and it's also a warming. It creates a warming up effect on your body, so it warms you from the inside out. Okay? So just let's try it just a few more times. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. There you go. Now see if you can keep it going. It's subtle, so you're going to feel it on yourself, but you don't want it to, you know, hurt your throat or something like that. Okay? Remove the block. And we're gonna come onto downward facing dog. The way we are gonna do it is we're gonna start on all fours, starting on our hands and our knees. During these 4 weeks, we're gonna move through the most common postures in a vinyasa practice for you to get familiar with them, okay? So downward facing dog, it's probably a posture that you're gonna find in every yoga class. And it's a posture that has a lot of things that we need to work on, a lot of things to get there. But to begin with, come onto your hands and your knees. So thinking that your hands are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. If you look at your hands, spread your fingers somewhere wide. And the index finger is going to point forward towards the top of the mat. Okay, that creates a little bit of external rotation of the arms. So the soft part of the elbows is going to move forward towards the top of the mat. The arms are straight. From there, you're going to walk your hands, one handprint forward towards the top of the mat. And then from there, you're going to tuck your toes on the floor. I want you to keep the knees bent as we begin with this, okay? So keep your knees bent, keep the toes tucked on the floor. And then from there, send your hips back towards your heels. Push the floor away from you with your hands. And lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Now once again, keep the knees bent to begin with. Relax your neck, look back towards your feet. Hip width distance apart with your feet, just as they were on the floor. And then here, if you're tight on the back of the legs, you're gonna stay right here. If you feel you're a little bit more flexible, you can straighten your legs a little bit more. What you don't want is to straighten the legs by rounding the spine, as I'm doing here. It's the thing that you're gonna keep your knees bent, but you wanna find length from the wrist all the way back towards the tailbone, okay? So don't knees are bent. Some people really think that they have to have the heels touching on the floor. They don't have to touch the floor. So just focus on the upper body, finding length there, finding a lot of strength through the hands, because you're starting to bear weight on your hands. So you want to be there as long as possible on the spine. Good. From here, you're going to move forward into plank pose. Good. As you move forward into plank, the hands are on top of the shoulders. The shoulders are on top of your wrists, more than that. And the heels are pressing back towards the wall behind you. Good. Push the floor away from you. Move forward again into downward facing dog. And you should have like quite a good measure here that if you move from downward facing dog onto plank, you don't have to readjust your feet all the time forward and back. Okay? One more time back into downward facing dog. Once again, remember, you can bend your knees if you need. And coming back onto all fours. Good. We're gonna continue cat-cow. So your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, finding these 4 points on the floor. And think about your tailbone. The tailbone is gonna move first. So we start to move from the lower back all the way to the top of the head. So next time you inhale, send the tailbone up towards the ceiling as you find like a wave motion through the spine and you look forward. Exhale, send the tailbone down to the floor, around the back, push the floor away from you. Good, inhale. Open the chest as you look forward. Cat-cow, exhale as you round. Move from the tailbone all the way, push the floor away from you. Good, 2 more. Inhale. As you open the chest, exhale. Target the tailbone in, push. Good, 1 more. Inhale. Move as much as you can from the spine. Exhale and push the floor away from you. Good. Tuck your toes on the floor. Send your hands a little bit more forward. 1 hand print to the top of the mat. And push back onto downward facing dog. Good. Sending your hips up and back to the wall behind you. When you're in a vinyasa class, there's going to be so many times where the teacher is going to ask you to, from downward facing dog, step forward towards the top of the mat. So we're going to break this stepping forward into 3 different ones. I'm going to show you how it looks. It's basically like this. Inhale, stretch your right leg back. Exhale, step your right foot forward in between the hands. Now, this stepping forward is not really possible for everyone. Most of people is going to just look like this. You're going to take step right here. So we're going to break it down, and you're going to decide which one works better for you, okay? So one option would be inhale, stay here, and then lower down to all fours, and the right foot steps forward in between the hands. Good. And then from here, you can come up to stand. That's a way to transition from downward facing dog into a standing position. Okay? Another way would be from downward facing dog, you're gonna inhale, stretch your right leg back. Exhale, you step forward. If it takes up quite close to the hands, you're just gonna grab the leg and help it to come all the way forward until you stand. Okay? Another way would be hands on your blocks. So downward facing dog with the hands on the blocks just makes it more accessible for you to get a little bit higher. Inhale as you stretch the leg back. Exhale as you step forward and find a little bit more space there to step to the top of the mat. Okay? Good. Downward facing dog. We do the first step forward. So you take the option that works best for you. Okay, inhale, bring the right leg back and up to the ceiling. Exhale, and step your right foot forward in between the hands. Low lunge, lower your left knee down to the floor. Inhale, and just lift the upper body up, bring your hands to the right thigh. Take a moment here. Send the hips forward. If it gets too sensitive on your left knee, feel free to put a blanket there or something else that gives you a little bit of more like cushion underneath that left knee. Good, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. And then bring your hand behind your head, interlace your fingers like you're making a pillow for the head. See if you can start looking up towards the ceiling, maybe back to the wall behind you. Take a moment here as you breathe, as you open the chest. One more breath there. Good, come back to center. Hands to the floor. If you have the blocks, bring them close to you. Half splits. So you're going to send your hips back. Get high on your right heel, lift the right toes up towards the ceiling. It might look like this with the knee bend, that's okay. And then take a deep inhale here as you lengthen through the chest. Hands go as high as you need them. Exhale as you fold towards your right leg. And if you're flexible enough, maybe you can lower your, the blocks a little bit lower. Maybe the hands can go all the way down to the floor. As you move here, send your right hip back and the left hip forward, trying to kind of square the hips forward towards the top of the mat. Breathe. And take a moment just as you fold towards your right leg. One more breath here. Good. Rebend on your right leg. Downward facing dog. Hands on the floor, press back into down dog. And we move to the left side. Inhale, bring your left leg back and up to the ceiling or lower to all fours. Exhale as you step your left foot forward in between the hands. Low lunge, right knee down on the floor. Bring your hands to your left thigh and lift the chest up. Good. Take a moment here. Once again, the hips go as forward and down as you can, and then interlace your fingers, bring your hands behind the head, and then lift the chest. Look up towards the ceiling, maybe a little bit back, depending how open you are on your lower back. Just taking a nice back bend here. One more breath here. Good, come back to center. Hands to the floor, send your hips back, straighten the front leg as much as it goes, left toes up towards the ceiling, half splits, inhale as you lengthen, exhale as you fold forward. Where can you go? Once again, the hips want to go somewhere kind of in the middle, and because when we're in these postures, when one leg is forward and the other leg is back, we tend to kind of go with the hips in the same direction as the legs. So we want to try to once again bring the hips back to center. So left hip back, right hip forward as you fold. One more breath here. Good. Inhale, lift up halfway. Rebend on your front leg, downward facing dog. Stepping back to the back of the mat. Good, find your stance again, push the flow away from you, find length through the spine, remember bend the knees if you need to. Look forward towards the top of the mat, inhale, bend your knees, get high on your toes. Exhale, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway and lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, come all the way up, arms over the head, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. As we come to stand to the top of the mat, we're going to move into Tadasana, which is mountain pose. And Tadasana, it's another posture that will come back again and again into a vinyasa practice, okay? And from Tadasana, we're going to practice here, finding that Tadasana, and practice forward, folding forward from Tadasana as we make our transitions through class, okay? So we start just with Tadasana. So look down at your feet. You can start feet together or a little bit wider out, depending what feels comfortable for you and what really gives you this kind of stable feeling through the feet. If you look down at your feet, press the four corners of your feet down on the floor. So imagine you have 4 points, 2 below the toes and 2 on the heel. So think about pressing those 4 corners down on the floor. From there, lift the arches of the feet. So you're not collapsing in, but you're more lifting from there. Lift the kneecaps, engage the quads. Now keep a little bit of bend on the knees. It's not engaging the quads by pressing the knees back, but it's finding that quad engagement as you keep just a little bit of bend on the knees. Take a moment there. Seep the lower belly in. So think, as if you were wearing a really tight pair of jeans, you want to seep it in. And the tailbone is going to go down just a little bit. It's just very, very tiny. So I don't want you to tug the tailbone in from here. It's just very normal, okay? So seep the lower belly in. The front ribs move back just a little bit as you open the chest. Let the arms relax down by your side. Take a moment there just to find this length. So you kind of basically want to align the heels with the knees, with the hips, with the shoulders, okay? From the side. And this is called Tadasana. We will come back to this many times during these 4 weeks, okay? Feel it here. From Tadasana, we're going to inhale here. The arms are going to go up to the ceiling. Exhale as we fall forward. Good. Just do it however it feels okay for you for this one. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, come all the way up, arms over the head, reach up. Exhale, arms down by your side. Tadasana again. Okay, so we're going to practice here. It's a hip hinge. So we want to fall forward, keeping length on the lower back. So as we fall forward, we want to keep as much length on the lower back as possible. So I don't want you to fall forward by rounding the back and really working so hard to touch the floor. Forget about that. You don't want to put that pressure onto the lower back. You're going to find Tadasana. You're going to slide bend the knees. I find it easier to find that length on the lower back if you keep the knees bent, okay? Let's practice it like this. Put one hand on your belly and one hand on your lower back, okay? And think, you want to keep that length that you have right here in Tadasana. You're going to slide bend the knees, and for the hip hinge, you're going to send your hips back and the tailbone moves back to the back of the mat as you fall forward. See if you can go halfway to this kind of 90 degrees and still find that length through the lower back. And then past 90 degrees as you fall forward more. You can start rounding the back, especially the thoracic spine. The middle back is going to round as you fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to the chins or still on the floor. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, lift the arms all the way up to the ceiling. Look up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to your heart. We practice it again. From Tadasana, press the 4 corners of your feet down, lift the kneecaps, engage the quads, seep the lower belly in, find that length through the lower back. Inhale, lift the arms up towards the ceiling. Hinge from the hips. Exhale as you fall forward. How much length can you keep through the lower back as you fold? Inhale, lift them halfway. Use the blocks if you need to rest your hands. Exhale and fold again. Inhale, come all the way up, arms over the head, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. We're going to take it to one sun salutation. This one is sun salutation A, okay? So feet together or a little bit wider out. Find your Tadasana, the arms down by your side. Lift the arches of your feet, lift the kneecaps, engage the quads, seep the lower belly in, send your front ribs back, but open the chest. The arms go down by your side. Inhale, lift the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale and fall forward. Hinge from the hips, keep the length on the lower back as you fold. Inhale, lift up halfway and lengthen. Exhale and fold again. Inhale, press your hands on the floor. Step back into plank pose. Shoulders on top of your wrists. Take a moment here. Press the heels back towards the wall behind you. Push the floor away from you. Keep your knees down on the floor if you need to. And then lean forward on the tippy toes. Inhale as you reach forward. Lower the knees down to the floor if you need. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Good. Point the toes back. Cobra pose. Inhale. Lift up halfway. Exhale and fold again. Tuck your toes on the floor. Push back to downward facing dog. Take one breath there. Then inhale, look forward towards the top of the mat. Exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, come all the way up. Lift up to the ceiling, palms touch. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more time. Inhale, lift the arms up. Hinge from the hips. Exhale as you fold. Keep that length as much as you can. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale and fold again. Inhale, step back, plank pose. Press the heels back. Inhale, lean forward onto the tippy toes. Knees down. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale, point the toes back, cobra pose. Lift the chest. Draw the shoulders back. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, tug your toes on the floor. Exhale, push back to downward facing dog. One more breath here. Exhale. Inhale, look forward towards your hands. Bend your knees, get high on your toes. Exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale, lift up halfway and lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, come all the way up. Arms over the head, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good. Lower your arms down by your side. That's it. Class 1, day 1 of this beginner program. And feel free to take this class again. The more you listen, the more you do again, the more familiar you will become. This is just about repetition. And this class, it's going to take, every day, we're going to take a little bit more. We're going to bring another posture, another piece of the puzzle to make your practice a little bit more complete and for you to understand a little bit more how to move through a vinyasa class. I hope you enjoyed today, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks for today. Namaste.